Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón a la República Dominicana, la casa del merengue y la casa de la bachata. Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón a la República Dominicana, la casa del merengue y la casa de la bachata. La casa del merengue.
I've heard so many comments from people. It's one old boy, real nice feller. He said, "PawPaw, you're getting away from what we watch your videos for, man. You know, we call it doing it cheap. We expect to hear you talk about doing stuff cheap instead of, you know, these, you know, elaborate, or no, elaborate wasn't the word he used, but the word he meant, or the word he said meant, you know, like expensive and all that, trips to Mexico." Well, let me tell you something, buddy. There ain't nothing exorbitant about any trips I take. Lord have mercy, you talk about doing it cheap. On my first trip down there, I flew and we stayed with my friends. Didn't have no motel bill. Ate with them. And on the second trip, I was using airline tickets that had been given to me in the way of vouchers, and you know, just, and a Mexican motel is cheap. Anyway, I did want to start out showing you the black cherry plum. This is actually a combination. I had racked my wine, and one of it was pomegranate plum, and this is black cherry plum, and I'd done a quart each. And what I did then is I just poured the remainder of one of them into the remainder of the pomegranate. I do want you to see, God, buddy, you're talking about pretty color. I don't know if it shows up on the screen or not. Well, boy, this is good stuff. And this is doing it cheap, too. You know, you never realize it because they don't show you. But you buy a bottle of wine, your typical bottle is 750 milliliters. And that bottle is thick. You get you a 1 liter water bottle and only fill it 3/4 way full, and that's all the wine you get. And people paying all kinds of crazy money. Good Lord, I think my wine, they're buying the juice just like that. The juice is like $2.69 for 2 quarts. So a quart is costing me $1.35 plus a cup of sugar and a little bit of yeast. So, anyway, my third adventure in Mexico. I believe when I dropped off, I told y'all that I had to go to Iraq. And while I was in Iraq is when I lost all that weight. Right now I'm about 280, 282. They're fluctuating in there. And I was 267 when I left for Iraq. And when I come back, I was 193. And I've got a picture of me somewhere sitting on my Harley Davidson in my military clothing, showing just how skinny I was. And my daughter said, "Oh, my poor skinny daddy." She thought I was sick. I wasn't sick, I felt great. The doctor said I had the blood of an 18-year-old kid. I mean, I felt great. And anyway, my wife had not spent a dime of the money I had earned while being overseas. She just let it build up in the account. And about the only spending that was done out of the money I earned over there is I bought her some 21 karat gold jewelry. A lot cheaper than I could buy it here. And I'd never bought her 21 karat gold. It's real soft, it's a deep yellow. It's real pretty. Anyway, I bought her a necklace, matching earrings, and bracelet, and I think a ring. I think she lost one of the earrings. Oh well. So anyway, I get home and my wife says, "Where do you want to go on vacation?" And because we had planned to go somewhere whenever I got back. She says, "You've got enough money, we can go anywhere in the world. Where would you like to go? Would you like to go on another cruise?" You know, I had won a cruise one time when I was in the mobile home business. The factory actually paid for my wife and I a 7-day cruise. It was neat. Like I said, I don't spend my money on big fancy things like that, but I sure enjoyed going. And so anyway, my wife, you know, she says, "Where would you like to go?" "We could go anywhere in the world. Where would you like to go?" I said, "I want to go back to Mexico." And she says, "Why do you want to go to Mexico?" I said, "Well, my money's bigger. You know, stuff is cheap down there. The dollar is strong." And I said, "Okay." Well, we drove. I bought my son a pickup truck, a 2004 Dodge. I think it's 2004. He had graduated high school and he did not want to go to college, even though I was willing to pay his tuition. He said no, and I said, "All right, if I ain't paying your way to school, I'm gonna buy you a truck," and I done my job. So I did. I bought him a brand new truck. At that time I was making real good money. And so I bought him a brand new Dodge 1500 Ram. But the deal with all my kids is whenever I bought them a brand new vehicle, the deal is if they ever got tired of it, they decided they want to get something else, they could not trade it in, they had to give it back to me. And unfortunately he wrecked a dadgum truck just a few years ago. And I do want to say to Dodge and Chrysler and all you people, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your safety features in that Dodge truck, he run right smack dab, I mean head first, right into a Chevy Suburban that was up on its side in the dark, in the rain, on a 4-lane highway, out in the middle of nowhere. This daggum black Chevy Suburban was up on its side with his underbelly facing my son, and he's driving down the road and it's dark, it's 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, got off work, and he didn't see that daggum thing until the very last instant, and he plowed right into it. Said he's probably doing 55 mile an hour when he hit it. The airbag deployed, and my son walked away from that truck with just a little scratch on his arm where the sharp plastic was when it popped. And you talk about grateful to a daggum car company. Man, saved my son's life. Anyway, enough of that. So anyway, I told him, I said, your mother and I want to borrow your truck. Okay. And I left him the keys to everything I had here. And we drive to Mexico. Now, we live in Middle Tennessee, and for me it's about an 18-hour drive down to Laredo, Texas. But we didn't cross at Laredo, we crossed at Colombia. This is my first time to ever drive to Mexico. And my buddy here, he told me, he says, "Man, you don't want to cross it at Laredo. You want to cross it. Colombia is a small little station, and they got plenty of time for you, and there's, you know, everything goes smooth and peaceful." And you know, they can take time with you. And I said, okay. And that's where we crossed. Well, I knew I had to, from there, I had to travel east to get on to what they call Catataraquota, Highway 57, the toll road, to where you, it was like driving down an interstate, like any interstate here in the United States. Well, I turned a little too soon. I ended up being on Highway 57 Libre, which is the free road, which is rough as a cob, which you talk about being in Mexico. Oh my freaking God. We were in the middle of Mexico, and I mean, there was the most modern thing you saw on this road was a gas station. Everything else looked like it was 200, 300 years old. It might have been at least 100 years old. But and this used to be the main highway until they built that toll road. So me and my wife, we'd be bopping down this free road. I had a map, but let me tell you what, the maps in Mexico ain't that good. And the bitch of it is, from the beginning when we first turned, I could see off in the distance the toll road. It was off in the distance over there. It was, I kept thinking I was going to run into it. Nah. Oh well. So we take the free road the whole way. We never even get on the toll road. And we approached and come to a town called Matehuala. I might have got on the toll road around there, but anyway, we come to a town of Matehuala. And I had never seen a Mexican no-tell motel. I don't know why we don't have these in the United States. These are so freaking cool. Now, any decent young lady, young Mexican lady, knows what these places are and don't want to go there. I had no idea. But what these no-tell motels are, and they don't say no-tell, that's just a slang, you know, term we give them. The Mexican motel, it's like, you know, you watch the old westerns and you see the forts, you know, the army and cavalry forts. You had the big doors that opened up, and you know, they'd bring the wagons and the horses in the fort. Or any of the ancient cities that had or castles that had the big doors. Well, these motels, when you pull up to the front area there, their opening, all you can really see is the office building, or a blank wall, and office is off to one side, depending on where you are, which place it is. But they actually have a bar across the way, across the exit. You can't leave without paying them. And like I said, I'd never been in one of these motels before. And I pull in there, and I just stop, and I'm waiting, and nobody comes out. So I get out, and I walk up to a window, and I let the lady know that me and the wife, we need a room, you know, we're tired. And it wasn't very expensive at all. I mean, not at all. It may have been around 28 American dollars. But now this was in around 2006, okay? And this little girl, she shows us to our room. And what the room consists of is you drive your vehicle around and you pull into a carport. Of course, it's got ceramic tile on the floor. I love Mexico and their ceramic tile or porcelain tile. You pull into a private carport. You hit the button and the electric garage door closes. Then you open the door and walk into your room, like you would any carport, any attached garage here in the United States. You know, go in your Go into the garage, shut the door. Now nobody can see you get in or out of your vehicle, and nobody can mess with what's in your vehicle. And when you got a pickup truck or a lot of valuable stuff in the trunk of your car, back seat or whatever, this is awesome. I'm loving this. I don't realize that what these no-tell motels is for is lots of times they rent them by the hour. And the reason for all this privacy is so nobody knows who's coming and going. Anyway, we go in the room and my wife and I, we're just amazed because this motel was brand new. And we're just amazed at a huge jacuzzi in the room. I mean, this place is nice. I turn on the TV and they had all kinds of channels, if you get my drift. They had channels that you need to make sure no children see. So if you were to stay at one of these no-tell motels, unplug the television and hide the remote until the kids' TV don't work. But anyway, we loved it. I mean, the bathroom was huge. You got the 1 or 2 sinks there, and then you got a daggum, not a shower stall, but this big just area, and you take your shower there, almost like you're in a locker room. And I really like this, and I was wondering, why don't we have this in the United States? So from there we were about, maybe 6 to 8 hours from our destination. And we got up the next morning and we went into the town of Matawala and had something to eat. And that's where I bought an atlas from Walmart in Matawala. And where I'm used to paying $6, at that time $6 or $5.95 for an atlas, this atlas was 15 American dollars. Where is it? But it's just your basic road atlas. I've got it here somewhere. So anyway, my wife and I, we get something to eat in Matawala, and then we drive on down to Arandas, Jalisco. And Arandas is where we visited before. It's where they had the tequila festival and all that, and where I knew my way around. And just happened, I didn't know this, but just happened that my buddy from here was also down there with his wife, which was kind of cool. So we're staying at the Santa Barbara Hotel, not to be confused with a motel, but we were staying at the Santa Barbara Hotel, and it was approximately $34 a night. And this was, I would rate this a 3 to 4 star. It's very nice. If you wanted laundry done, you just left it on the bed and they would wash your clothes for you for a small fee. Had a very nice restaurant downstairs with live music, and it was just a nice place, one of the nicer places in Arandas. Like I said, it was only like 34 bucks a night. And my wife and I got talking with the, as we got to know the waiters and the cooks and the staff there, and the bartenders and all that, because we were down there about a week or so, I guess. They were just amazed that every night my wife and I were ordering prime rib with all the vegetables and all the fixings and everything. They were just overwhelmed that these rich Americans were eating prime rib every night. And I said, what are you talking about? They said, you know, that's 70 pesos. And at that time there were about 11 to 12 pesos to $1. So this was less than $7. And you figure 15% tip, and we was right in around $7.25 for prime rib. And all nice fresh vegetables and, you know, all the trimmings. And I said, yeah? And they said, well, we work all day long to make 100 pesos, which is less than $10. They said for us to spend 70 pesos out of 100, that's like spending our entire day's wages for supper and maybe a beer or two. I said, I understand. I said, in the United States, McDonald's hamburger, french fries, and a Coke is $7. I said, for us to come here and have prime rib and all these fresh vegetables and stuff for $7, to us, this is cheap. And they said, well, you're rich Americans. And I said, no, you don't understand. I said, we save our money all year long to go on a vacation. We're not rich by any stretch of the imagination. We work for a living, but we save our money. And here we are in Mexico, in the middle of a small town in the middle of Mexico. We're not at the beach. We're not at Puerto Vallarta or Cozumel or any of the tourist towns. We're in the middle of Mexico, surrounded by desert, and enjoying the true Mexican culture. So anyway, we're down there, and my wife and I are walking hand in hand down the sidewalk one morning, and my buddy says, "Hey, pinche gringo, ¿cómo está?" He says, "Hey, you freaking gringo, how you doing?" And we waved at him and shot the breeze with him and all that, and invited them to have, and they did have their children with them at their house, but we invited them to come, and we would like to treat them to a steak dinner at the hotel. I said, and I told my buddy's wife, I said, yeah, I know. You're not supposed to have an invitation. I said, but I want to make sure you'll come. So anyway, we had set up a time of about 7 o'clock, maybe 7:30, on either a Friday or Saturday night. I forget which one it was. And that day, my buddy took his wife and 2 of her sisters to Guadalajara to get permanent makeup. I'd never heard of such a thing. Basically, they tattoo the makeup on a woman's face. And I'm sure a bunch of you women out there have heard of it. But I had never heard of this in my entire life. Tattooing makeup. And I mean, they were tattooing lipstick on the woman's lips. I mean, tattooing in the color she selected to make it look like lipstick. And tattooing eyebrow liner and eyeliner and the whole bit. And I'm freaking out when I hear this. Anyway, it gets to be about 8 o'clock. My buddy and his wife ain't showed up. And it gets to be 8:30, 9 o'clock. And all the staff at the hotel, they're concerned for us. Would you like to go ahead and eat, Maybe we can bring you some snacks or something. I said, well, bring us some chips. We'll sit here and nibble until they get here. It got to be 9 o'clock, 9:30. My buddy still hadn't showed up. And the place closed at midnight. Anyway, between 10 and 10:30, they finally showed up. And my buddy said, man, I'm sorry. He said, we can do it another time. I said, no, man, they're still open. You're hungry, let's eat. And he said, what? He said, well, let me take her sisters home about 12 miles down the road. I said, all right. What had happened? This permanent makeup is only supposed to take about 4 hours. While my buddy's wife was there, one of her sisters says, oh, I want to get that done too. And then another sister says, oh, me too, I want to get that done also. So my buddy, instead of waiting 4 hours on his wife, he waits almost 12 hours on all 3 of them. And I felt so sorry for my buddy's wife, because after getting them lips tattooed, she had them duck lips. She still look at it because they were all swollen and they were red. I made fun of her. I pissed her off, but is in good fun, but oh my God. Can you imagine get your lips tattooed? Solid? Ooh. Anyway, they came back, we had a good time. We had our prime rib and our fresh vegetables and listened to them sing and people dance, and we were dancing, we're drinking tequila because I knew the guy at the tequila factory and I bought several bottles from him and straight from the factory. He gave us some as well, and so we had like a case of tequila in our room. We just bring down a bottle, and staff didn't care because we were guests staying there. But my goodness. Plus, if you give the staff a little shot of tequila here and there, it don't hurt either. But that was something. So I'm talking to my buddy, and he says, you need to go to this town or that town or this town or that town, because I started talking about, you know, maybe I'd like to buy my wife a nice leather jacket. And he says, well, you want to go to Leon, Guanajuato. And one of the things I began to learn about Mexico is each city specializes in something. Now here, if a woman wants to go shopping and wants a good variety of stuff, she'll go to Nashville, okay? And you know, you got the malls, and you got anything and everything you're looking for is in that city, big city. Well, in Mexico, these cities specialize in things, and Leon, Guanajuato specialized in leather goods, and that's where you could save money on leather goods. Well, I find her the most beautiful lamb skin or sheep skin jacket. I mean, beautiful, and the leather's so soft, for $35. I'm telling the guy, they wanted 40, and they had all different colors, or maybe they was wanting 50. Make a long story short, I bought my wife 5 leather jackets, not because I was rich, but because I got them for like $35 a piece, and the same jacket here in the United States is $300. Matter of fact, my buddy was talking to a woman that said, oh, I wouldn't buy my stuff in Mexico. I got this in New York. And he said, really? May I see it? I said, sure. Turned the label up, and it said Leon, Guanajuato, Mexico. She paid $300. Some people. Anyway, because I was able to get such a bargain on that, I mean, I got her a white one, and a pink one, and a tan one, and a baby blue one, and a black one. And I bought her a matching purse for each jacket. Oh man, she was on cloud 9. And I bought, for myself, I bought a pair of deer skin boots. Actually made out of deer. Very soft. And and I kicked myself in the butt, because I really would have liked to have got one of those full-length leather jackets like they had on The Matrix, you know, full-length jacket, leather coat. I'd have really liked to have one of them, but I didn't get one. I almost did another trip, but that's another story. But anyway, we had actually paid a waiter on his day off from the hotel to be our guide in Leon, Guanajuato, because that's a big freaking city, and we had no idea where to go. I mean, no idea. And this boy, pretty much being from there, he knew where we could find a bargain and what shops were more, I don't want to say touristy, but you know, more higher price for the same goods. So, in Leon, Guanajuato, we saved money on leather goods. Well, let me tell you what, if you only know a little bit of Spanish, it can get you in trouble. And I could not think of the word serape. I could not think of what the Mexican word was for serape. And a serape is the traditional, brilliant colored, striped pattern, poncho type thing that has a hole in it, like a flat blanket with a hole in it, and you put it over your head, and it hangs in front of you and hangs behind you. It might tie on the sides. You got your Mexican sombrero on top, and you're ready to go ride your donkey. Okay, the serape. I could not think of that word, and I was using the word, I forget it now, coquillo, I don't know. I was using the word blanket. And everywhere I go, I'm looking for a blanket. I'm telling them I'm looking for a blanket. And the reason I wanted to buy these serapes is because my buddy had decorated his Mexican restaurant and used them as curtains. They're so pretty, so bright in color. I said, man, that is awesome. So we wanted to do the same thing here. We wanted to decorate this house here with a Mexican motif. Oh my goodness. We ended up going, they said, well, if you want fabric type goods, you want to go to Zapotlanejo. So we drive to this town. And by God, it's true. I mean, marketplaces, you're walking, you got stores on both sides with little stalls in front of them. You barely walk down what used to be the street because it's market day. You got like tent things over you. And everywhere you look was bed linens. All kinds of bed linens. And those that you've seen that have a pattern on them, or like a throw you'd put on top of your bed as like a lion or a tiger or something like that. They made those down there. But this was the town where they actually manufactured all this linens, bed linens, blankets, sheets, pillowcases, throws, and all that. But nowhere to be found was a serape. But I didn't know what I was looking for. And I would ask around and say, oh yeah, you need to go down such and such a street. And we'd go down there and it'd be a real nice store, something like a J.C. Penney's. Oh yeah, they had beautiful blankets in there. But a blanket ain't what I wanted. Ended up going back to Aranda, back to the hotel. We were walking downtown and I saw this damn serapes right there in the window of the local store. Oh my goodness. Well, while we were in Zapotlanejo, I did buy the most beautiful throw to go over a bed. It was like the old Aztec guy with all the feathers in his hair, and the girl on the altar, you know, they're going to kill the virgin for the, you know, for the gods. Anyway, my buddy said, Dad, you need to go to San Juan de los Lagos. San Juan de los Lagos. I said, okay. He said, where they make candy. Oh man, we go to San Juan de los Lagos. And you're walking, and it's everywhere you walked. It was, would you like to taste our candy? And they made a lot of caramel there. Would you like to taste our candy? Would you like to taste our candy? And I was telling them, yo gordo ya, I'm already fat. And we just really enjoyed just seeing this stuff. We didn't spend much money at all, but we just loved seeing the stuff, the different cultures and all that. And then we went to a town called Tonalá. It's just east of Guadalajara. And this is where all the artists are, all kinds of artwork, whether it be ceramics or like I've got a set of tables, a table and 4 chairs here made out of cow skin. They call it rustic, and made out of slats of wood and branches and all that. Really neat. And we bought that. We bought some ceramics, bought some oil paintings. But the artwork just incredible in tonalá, and I mean, just really nice. We actually bought about 4 truckloads of stuff, and we piled it all on the truck on one trip. Coming back, I mean, I put stuff inside of stuff. My buddy's kids are saying, "There ain't no way this is going to fit in that truck." And he's telling his daddy, "There's no way." And they watched as I packed it one piece after another, and all of a sudden 4 truckloads of stuff fit on this truck. They call me the Mexican hillbillies. So we had a very good experience there. It was not an extravagant vacation. Any of the souvenirs and stuff we bought were very affordable. Like I said, we stayed in a $34 a night hotel, even though here that'd be a roach motel. There is a very nice place, and that's what I liked about being down there. And on our way back, we stopped at the No-Tell Motel in Matawala, and before I talk about that, I do want to talk about, I think I mentioned it before, but my wife eating the tacos de vampiros, vampire tacos, where they opened up at 9 o'clock at night and shut down about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. That was a lot of fun. Eating tacos from a taco vendor on the side of the street, eating cocktail de camarón, shrimp cocktails on the plaza in Arandas during the day. Just too much to try to pack into one little video, but it was a very nice trip. Didn't spend a lot of money, had a wonderful time, and on the way back we stayed at that same motel in Matawala because I could pull my truck in this carport, shut the door, and not worry about anybody messing with it. And if you want to order room service, something to eat, this big pipe mounted in the wall, and you turn it, and there was one opening like this in that pipe, and you contacted, you called them on the phone, say, hamburger and french fries or whatever. They would bring it out to you. They put it in that pipe with a little piece of paper, how many pesos you owed them, and they turn it, and it turned, and there's your hamburger and french fries. You didn't see them, they didn't see you, unless you wanted to open the curtains. But there was how many pesos. You put your pesos there plus a tip, turn it back around to them, they take their money and leave. So cool. I mean, it's neat as can be. Anyway, and then from Matawala we made our way on back to Colombia and crossed the border and came on home. But it was quite an experience, and I just really enjoyed it down there. And episode 4 will be when my son needed dental work, and I took him to my buddy's family dentist in Arandas, and that's a real adventure there. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen and watch my videos. Again, these are primarily for the benefit of my grandchildren. Just tell them about some of Nana and PawPaw's adventures. But I do like to share it with you and let you know that you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money to have a nice time. And when you go to of course I had to know a little bit of Spanish, and that's all I knew was a little bit. But people are very impressed, and they show a lot of respect to you if you try to speak their language. Even if you can't do it, if you're trying, it shows that you're not being an arrogant gringo. Why don't you speak English? Well, you're not, they're not in the United States, you're in their country. You need to speak the language they speak if you expect them to speak English in the United States. So, anyway, y'all have a wonderful day. and a better tomorrow. Bye.
Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón a la República Dominicana, la casa del merengue y la casa de la bachata. Voy a cantar esta canción con mucho cariño de mi corazón a la República